Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado, Speed Channel welcomes you to NASCAR Bush Pole qualifying as 47 drivers compete for 43 starting spots in Saturday's 250-mile race here on this 1-mile track. The little high plains downpour that we had earlier has cleared away. You see some blue sky beginning to return here in the late afternoon, and cars being uncovered and getting ready to go. Track's just about dry, and we're just about set to go with the first car here in Bush Pole qualifying. Let's check down on pit road. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
You know, Alan, sometimes when you don't know any better, maybe it could work to your advantage, and that's the situation Tyler Walker is in. You've never tried to race a Busch car here, but you have been here in a USAC Silver Crown car, and you've got one round to practice it. How different were the two vehicles here?
Huge difference. No comparison, but Paul Andrews did a great job on this Great Clips deck of Dodge, and we were really good in race trim. We only got one qualifying running because we were spending a lot of time on race trim, but I got a little tied up off 4. I might have been a little too aggressive on the throttle, but I'm going to go for it, and he said he loosened it up for me, so we're going to go for it hard, and hopefully we don't pick that push up and we'll be good.
We've had rain. You're the third car out, and you have no idea what to expect. So how do you handle that?
This is what I get paid to do. I gotta go out there and do what I know how to do, and that's drive the race car to its full potential and feel the tires and see what I can get out of it.
And knowing Tyler as long as I've known him, that means not backing off one little bit. It's my colleague on pit road now. Here's Mark Garrett.
Well, Ralph, this guy here has either been run into or run over something just about all season long. If it weren't for bad luck, I don't think David Stremme would have any at all. How about this weekend? Can you guys, given the way you ran here last year, which was pretty decent, can you get that luck thing turned around here this weekend?
I think so. This is a car we run at Nashville. Everybody put a new body on the trim spot car, and we were third in race trim, and we went to do our qualifying run, got caught by a couple cars, and end up 7th. You know, this year's been an up and down season, and hopefully we get some lady luck on our side, because either we run over something, get run into, something happens. It's just been real crazy, and we've had really fast race cars, and I think that you know, we just need to finish races, and we'll be all right. The whole team works very hard, and both Randy and I mean, we've been working and communicating on the car, getting it better, and this is a track that you need to really get the chassis really good because of the fact that you slide around here. I know I treat it just like a Darlington or Rockingham on the tires because it's so abrasive here. So again, we're going to have fun here, and we'll just see what happens.
Alan?
All right, Mark, thanks. Alan Bestwick, Barry Dodson here at Pikes Peak International Raceway, set to bring you Bush Pole qualifying under the mode of better late than never. And with 47 drivers here for 43 starting spots, this is a qualifying session a lot of people really wanted to get in. Rain, changing track conditions. You heard what Tyler Walker said, Barry. What would you do as a crew chief to your car?
I wouldn't do a lot, Alan, because this is the same tire we were on last week. Cars slowed down when they made their mock qualifying runs. Now I think the racetrack's going to have a tremendous amount of grip, and we're going to see some great speeds. But Tyler Walker has stated what he's going to do, so we're going to watch him. He loosened his car up.
You got some guys who are a little farther back in the field as far as the qualifying draw, like Johnny Sauter and so on. Will you wait, if you're their crew chief, to get that car out on the line and see what the response is from some of these early guys to go, or are you just going to stick by your guns?
All your good crew chiefs have somebody on the race team down there now with a scanner on. They'll go down and they'll watch us on TV to get driver comments. They'll adjust the car off that.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. We've got some good cars going to run early and some very good cars going to run very late. So Bush Pole qualifying about to get underway when we come back to Pikes Peak International Raceway on Speed. Speed Channel welcomes you back to Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado, just south of Colorado Springs, where Bush Pole qualifying gets underway as Clint Boyer takes the green flag for the first of his 2 laps on the clock around this mile track.
Been out of the car for a month now. The last time he raced, Alan, was Kentucky. I don't think he's much concerned about being the first car out because of the tires we mentioned, and the racetrack should have a super amount of grip. I think it was 9th quick in practice.
Yes, sir. Clint Boyer looking to make his 10th start on this season. Of course, sharing time in this car with Kevin Harvick, who's off on the other side of the states in Pocono this weekend. And the first lap time for Clint Boyer is a 26.467.
That's what I'm speaking about. I mean, you look at what fast speed was in practice, and you look what this kid just laid down.
Fast speed in practice was 26.673. So the first lap out of the box on a track that's just being dried is already 0.2 of a second quicker.
That's why you don't make a lot of changes. When you have a notebook on the racetrack, even with a rookie driver with this particular tire, this racetrack mirrors Loudon. It has very long straightaways.
And it feels good to have what you said backed up, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Leave it there. All right, Mark.
Well, Kenny Wallace would certainly like to back up what he did in practice. You were third quick. Do you have a shot at the pole?
Well, I think so. You know, Scott Wimmer won this race last year, and we showed up, and by gosh, it was a good setup. You know, we were second quickest before we got going into qualifying mode, so I feel real good about it. We'll just see what it does, and track should be pretty fast. It's cool now, and the rain's gone, so I'll be on the wheel.
Alan, obviously, that'll make Herman happy if they can pull it off.
It'll take a lot to make him happy, but he'd sure like a win here this weekend.
Herman's a happy boy. I know he wants to win for Bill Davis and that entire operation.
Fuller, as they say in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Jeff Fuller.
And last week in Mass, it was Jeffrey Fuller.
Fuller.
Everybody was having lobster.
Yeah, parking the car. That was a weekend ago on the other side of the country. Jeff Fuller looking for his fourth start here at Pikes Peak. Best qualifying ever for Fuller here was a 5th place run back in 1999. This is a car out of the Joe Nemechek Racing Stables. Fuller's done a lot of starting and not racing a lot this season.
A lot of fans don't know that Jeff Fuller is a full-time employee at Nemco.
By the way, the qualifying lap set by Clint Boyer is a new track record for Busch Series cars here at Pikes Peak. So on the first lap out of the box, we saw a new record set, and Jeff Fuller's going to come in about a half a second off of the time set by Clint Boyer at a 27.015 for Fuller.
And you know what, Alan? I think it's going to get quicker.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, the first guy out after a rain delay on a just dried racetrack to run that quickly, it could be pretty big. NASCAR Busch Series Championship standings as we get set to enter race 21 of the season. You see the 94-point gap between Martin Truex and Kyle Busch.
Okay, here's the kid that loosened his car up. He's going to go for it. He'd already run quick enough to turn his hat around, so we'll see what he does here. He ran, I think he ran Silver Crown or something, Alan, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, ran a USAC Silver Crown car here. Tyler Walker's done a little bit of everything this season as far as racing. He's run some ASA, he's run the USAC cars, some more of the Outlaws, and this is the 3rd time this season he's filled in for Casey Kane. The difference between the first 2 and this weekend, the first 2 we just qualified the car and Casey came in to race it. This weekend, Tyler's going to drive the race tomorrow. Casey Kane's going to stay in Pocono. And that would be another new track record. I just get warmed up for Indianapolis next week.
There we go.
Tom Carnegie and his new track record. So he said he was going to go for
it. He went for it. That 21's a strong car, and he beat him.
Second lap for Tyler, a little bit slower, so 26.452, and a new track record and a new leader in Busch Pole qualifying here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Tyler Walker on top. We're just underway. 3 of 47 cars have made their timed runs. You're seeing it on speed. Busch Pole qualifying back on speed from Fountain, Colorado. This is Stan Boyd on the racetrack looking for his 8th start of the season. First time here at this track in a NASCAR Busch Series car, though he has been here before in a Craftsman truck machine. The best of his 2 laps will be the 2nd of them, but it will be good for only 4th out of 4 drivers so far. Ralph?
Well, good news, bad news, Clint. Congratulations, you have the track record. Bad news, it only lasted for 2 cars. How much quicker is this racetrack than what you saw in practice from the cockpit now?
That's quite a bit. You know, our time's picked up quite a bit, you know, temperature-wise, and then, you know, rain washing all the rubber off, and, you know, the Hoosier tires with the late models being on earlier. But I think the Reese's Chevrolet's pretty good. We just got to work on our race run here and happy hour, and hopefully we can get a good package put together and drive this old girl to the front. I don't know if it'll hold it all the way up there, but I'd say a flat around there would be on pole. But we got the old teammate here, Hornaday. He's got to go yet, so hopefully he can be on pole.
And you can always tell him you did have the track record here, at least for a while. Mark Garrow?
I'm with Regan Smith. Regan, this is the most experienced team you've ever run a Busch Series race for. What are you looking for in qualifying in the race tomorrow?
Well, I think if we can get a good top 10 in qualifying with the Team Yellow Dodge here, that'd be a pretty successful day for us. And obviously, top 10 in the race would be great, but we get top 5. We struggled a little bit early in practice, but got it figured out towards the end there, and I'm pretty comfortable with the car now, so we're excited.
Alan Regan is the 7th different guy to get behind this wheel for James Finch so far this year.
Yeah, just 20 years old out of New York. It's a big opportunity for him here this weekend.
Pretty good little talent.
Here's Ronnie Barfield. Haven't seen Ron out a whole lot in the last couple of years.
The last couple guys, Stan Boyd, Ronnie Barfield, they're not going to be happy with those runs, but even they are much quicker than they practiced.
Barfield is 5th out of 5 so far, 28.062. Florence, South Carolina driver. Remember, drove the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and some Busch Series experience as well in years past. Talked to Ron today. He's building race cars for a living, a lot of short track machines and such. And here's Randy McDonald, the Canadian, looking for what would be his first start in a Busch Series machine here at Pikes Peak. He's got a couple of Craftsman Truck Series starts here.
He's got some work to do, like 45th in practice.
Randy's one of those guys, Barry, that, and there are a number of them in the Busch Series garage that are just trying to hang on. Financing is tight. I mean, no secret that funding has been tough for some teams to find in NASCAR over the last year or so. Randy's in one of those positions, and he's basically trying to stay in business and keep racing as best he can on what he's got to race with.
Yes, and the people at home need to realize that we're talking about 47 drivers here. There are hundreds of drivers that are very, very, very good that will never get the opportunity. Randy McDonald is one of those guys. You put him in good equipment, he's going to run pro.
First lap for Randy, 28.085, 6th out of 6, and here he comes for lap 2. I'll tell you something else I've noticed, when these guys are going off down into turn 1, there's a concrete patch down there that was put in before last year's race, and it seems like they're having a little trouble handling the transition onto that patch. You see that dark spot of asphalt right there. It seems like when they're getting onto that, they're losing the front end a little bit.
They are, and you have to run through it because it goes halfway up the racetrack.
See right here, this spot right here, as they're getting onto that patch, it seems like the guys are having some trouble when the front tires hit that. Maybe a little bit different grip level than some of the other surrounding pavement.
You see right here, there's a lot of rebound on these shock absorbers in the front to get qualified. And if you don't go across a smooth surface, you're going to see the front end take off.
Tyler Walker with a new track record, fastest so far, but it's early in NASCAR Busch Series Busch Pole qualifying at Pikes Peak. Kenny Wallace is on the clock as we come back to Pikes Peak International Raceway on speed with NASCAR Busch Series Busch Pole qualifying. Kenny's second fastest on his first lap around, 26.459. 7 thousandths of a second off Tyler Walker's fastest time.
Third in practice, he could do it. The trend we've seen so far is only a couple cars, the slower cars have picked up. Here he comes off turn 4. We'll see.
Survey says a little bit slower on lap 2. Might have cooked into turn 1 a little bit too hot. But Kenny Wallace second out of 8 right now. Ralph?
Well, that is Tyler Walker, who has the pole for now and a track record for now. And Paul Andrews changed some things on your race car, made it a little bit looser. How did that feel when you went around the racetrack?
Oh, awesome. It was a world of difference. I mean, these guys just we come here and we just kept working. We spent a lot of time on race trim, and we only got one bonsai run for qualifying, so we didn't really know we didn't get to make a change and try it. But I told him what the car did, and Paul did a great job. I mean, he said, "Don't worry, I'll fix it." I said, "I can back my corner up." He said, "No, don't back your corner up. I'll fix the car. Go out there and drive like you've been driving." And I got to thank everybody here on the Great Clips Deck of Dodge and Doug Stringer for giving me this opportunity. And I'm on cloud 9 right now, and I think we're going to have a really good run for tomorrow.
Barry, it sounds like they've got one thing worked out, and that's the communication between the driver and the crew chief.
They do, and I'll tell you what, he's gone quick enough to blow his hat backwards.
Then bend it out of shape a little bit, too. Kyle Busch, first lap. New track record.
You know, you can never believe that kid. He said we might have a car capable of being in the top 10, and here he is.
26.204. That beats Tyler Walker's time by 2.5 tenths of a second.
That is huge.
Kyle Busch going to bail out on lap 2.
Might as well start on 1 lap scuffs.
Yeah. Thing was like plowing up the track a little bit with him in turn 4. So Kyle Busch, 26.204, new leader in pole qualifying, looking for his 5th Busch pole of the season. And by the way, during the break a minute ago, Tim Edwards, a Mill Springs, North Carolina driver, looking to make the field here for his 2nd Busch Series start, ran 7th fastest out of 9 so far. Mark?
I'm with Paul Menard right now. 2nd week out on this new DEI Busch Series effort. How have things gone so far today?
We're struggling a little bit more this weekend than we did last, but you know, Tony Gibson, the guys made a lot of changes, and I hope to get a good solid start here today.
You were 24th in practice. Your best start here was 21st. You figure you're going to better that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. You know, the way things are going at the end of practice, we hit on a few things that definitely make it better. So Merritt, Johnson, Anvil, car should be pretty good for tomorrow.
Alan, Barry?
All right, David Stremme is on track, Mark.
Tell you what, the Trim Spa Dodge went through the bumps down there just about like Kyle Busch. This is probably going to be a good lap.
He was 7th fastest in practice earlier today. And the first lap for David Stremme is 2nd quickest. 26.235. See if he can pick it up on lap 2 and perhaps bump Kyle Busch off the pole.
I think that little washboard down there, Alan, you pointed out on the telestrator, is a very vital part of making a good lap here. We see some cars stick, we see some cars that don't do it very well.
2nd lap for David Stremme is a little bit slower. So 2nd quickest for Stremme, finished 2nd at Milwaukee earlier in the month. Looking for his first NASCAR Busch Series win. Kenny Wallace taking care of some of the fans after his run. It's NASCAR Busch pole qualifying on speed from Pikes Peak International Raceway in Colorado. Shane Hall is out on track, the 12th driver to make a qualifying run. While we were away in the break, Travis Geisler ran the 6th fastest time out of 11 so far.
Not too bad. And Shane was 30th quick in practice. Let's see what he does.
Looking for his 5th start of this season. Shane, one of those guys who I talked with earlier today in the garage, said they're trying to put together funding to do more racing with this team, but got to find it first.
8th quick.
Not bad. 27.456 for Shane. Just being in the field and having a shot at maybe getting the top 10 finish.
Nice looking car too.
Good expectation for him. Yeah. Around NASCAR Busch Series racing for quite some time. He made his first start in this series back in March of 1995. Nice run there.
210 pickup.
Yep, 27.296 for Shane, 8th out of 12. Ralph?
Well, we're standing by here with a guy who earlier today said he was going to look forward to move things ahead this week. And boy, you're doing that off to a good start. New track record and on the provisional pole for now. Do you think that time is safe, or is there still more left on this track, but the sun's creeping out?
Well, I'm doing my sun dance. You know, I gotta definitely want to get that sun to come out. And beat down on this racetrack, definitely bring the track temp up some. But you know, the low Chevrolet with the shop vac on the side was an awesome here in the qualifying session so far. And I want to say that it'll be the pole, but you know, I'm not going to try to jinx myself either.
All right, well, good luck with that. Mark Garrow?
Well, right now I'm with Tim Fedewa, who came here flying high enough maybe to land on the top of Pikes Peak without a helicopter after that great runner-up run last week at New Hampshire. You were 5th fast in practice. Has that momentum from last week carried over right here today?
Well, it always does, Mark. You know, that was a great run for the Supercut team, and you know, we've been picking away all year, and we're hitting the stretch of the season where the tracks that I really like and that we've geared up to run good at. So hopefully we can continue to do this. And I'm just having fun this year. I mean, they've given me a great opportunity at Fitz Bradshaw, and hopefully we can get more fun this year.
You know, Alan, last week a lot of folks think, including Tim, that one less restart might have meant the win. He had him. He had Matt Kenseth pass there on a yellow flag restart late in the race, but then the caution came out just as he was about to make the pass.
Yeah, couldn't hold it. But a great job by that team last weekend at New Hampshire. And a good solid job by Regan Smith in James Finch's #1 machine. 6th fastest out of 13.
Good run.
So the 21-year-old from Cato, New York, will try to make his way up toward the front of the field tomorrow. This is John Hayden from Owensboro, Kentucky, on track now. Looking for his 13th NASCAR Busch Series start, only his 2nd of this season. Hayden in practice earlier today, 34th fastest.
Another product out of Owensboro. There are plenty.
There must be something in the water there.
Must be.
John made a number of starts last season in his own equipment, trying to build his way up. And comes here to Pikes Peak looking to equal or better his best career qualifying effort, I should say.
Not too bad there, Alan. 27.839.
9th out of 14 for John Hayden, 35-year-old. It's got to be intimidating to come to a racetrack when you haven't run a whole lot so far this season. I mean, it's only going to be John's second race this season, and to jump back into one of these NASCAR Busch Series machines and, you know, have to come out here and put it in the show, it's got to be a little bit intimidating for some of these guys.
It is, especially for a young driver, and as it is with our program. We have a new program, and we're a little bit nervous when we go to a new venue or a different venue for the first time, and that lack of confidence, I think, spreads throughout the whole race team.
Barry, general manager of Rusty Wallace Racing's NASCAR Busch Series effort this year. You're not racing this weekend, which is what allows us to pluck you and put you here.
Well, I love being here. I tell you what, this is a lot of fun.
Ashton Lewis up next. Here is a young man and his team, one of a few who came all the way here to Colorado from their normal base in the Charlotte, North Carolina area for a test session just for this race weekend.
If there's a car out there deserving good sponsorship, it's this car. And I tell you what, ever since James Ince came on board, they've gotten better and better and better. Great, a lot of solid runs as of late.
Talked to Ashton about why they chose to come here and test, and he said, well, we have run very well at this racetrack, but James had not been here before as a crew chief. And we wanted to come out here and try some new things and see if we could run even better than we had before by using the new ideas. Kind of pouring some resources into this one to try and see if they can come away with a win on Saturday.
And they got a sponsorship on the car that they were introduced to when they had the Civil Air Patrol from out here. And I don't care where this kid starts, he's going to race well, and that's a pretty good starting spot.
26.767 the first lap for Ashton Lewis, 6th out of 15 so far. All right, Mark.
I'm down here with Jason Keller, won the pole here in 2002. Jason, we heard earlier in this program that Kyle Busch said that you and he talked after the situation last week at New Hampshire, and basically said it was my fault. Does it make it any easier to handle a situation like that now that the other driver said, look, it was my bad?
Well, we still got ran over, you know, but, you know, that was last week, and we're going to put that behind us. Struggling a little bit here today. This is usually a place I really like and really come and run good, so we got to pick up the pace a little bit, but we're not going to let last week bother us. We're going to focus on the positive. We were running great last week before we got ran over, so that's what we're going to work on.
He was 14th fastest, guys, in practice.
Jason waiting to come out in just a little while. He'll be the 23rd car out. We're at car number 16 right now, which is the 02 of Hermie Sadler.
Ernie Cope, crew chief over there, they've been pulling a lot of double duty running Winston Cup car along with Busch with a limited amount of people and funding, and they've done a pretty darn good job.
They've got a car with Jason Jarrett, got into the field at Pocono for Sunday's Cup race, and Hermie on his first qualifying lap, 10th fastest, 26.910. Had his best qualifying run of the season last weekend at New Hampshire when he started in 12th position. Unfortunately, they had some brake problems that took him away from a chance to contend for a good finish. Pretty consistent laps there, and a 10th out of 16 for Hermie Sadler at Pikes Peak today. Ralph?
Well, number 2 on the scoreboard right now belongs to car 32. That's David Stremmy's machine. They've been talking upstairs about the changing section of the racetrack where they've gone back in there and worked on the transitions a little bit, and some guys are running it in different ways. How are you approaching that, and how's that been for you?
Well, I remember last year was my first time here at Pikes Peak, and we went, and in turn 1 and 2, there's a patch, and you can actually hit it and get a lot of grip there, but I haven't noticed much of a change. The track's very smooth here. Again, you don't have as much grip, and we're pretty happy with our trim spot car for the qualifying effort. It's a new body that we've put on, and Ernie Elliott gave us a really great motor, so we're pretty excited. But I'd like to congratulate Casey Mears on his pole there at Pocono, and what an excellent job he did.
Alan?
David Stremme, second fastest behind Kyle Busch so far. This is Paul Menard. Last time he hit that patch down in 1 and 2 and had the front end wobbles for a minute.
That's what we were talking about, the shock control on the car, and you see it right there. It got a little bit better, but that was the result of heat in these tires. It made it look better for that lap.
26.877 on his first lap for Menard, 10th out of 17.
He's wanting to do better than that. Let's see what happens here.
23-year-old has experience on this racetrack in NASCAR Midwest Challenge Series car in the past. And in his second race for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, lap number 2, just a tick slower. So 10th out of 17 so far for 23-year-old Paul Menard. 17 of 47 cars have made their Busch Pole qualifying runs. We'll come back with more coverage in a minute on Speed. Bruce Bechtel just finished his Busch Pole qualifying run. 49-year-old from Corona, California, looking for his first start of the season. And 27.413 was good for 14 out of 18 drivers so far. Now Tina Gordon is on the clock.
44th in practice.
Third race with the J. Robinson Racing Team. Talked with Tina earlier this morning, and she said, just looking to learn these cars, learn these racetracks, try and make some progress, looking ahead toward next season.
And you know what, Alan, that takes a tremendous amount of time, and we're not talking about just one season. She's the slowest so far, 28.668. Just because we're finished racing in November doesn't mean you've reached your talent level. It's so competitive. The parity's good across the field. It's different.
Tina, her 5th race of 2004. Best qualifying effort was a 40th in New Hampshire 1 week ago. And had a 28th place finish at Talladega in April as a best. Second lap faster by 0.4 of a second, but still 19 out of 19 so far for Tina Gordon, looking at hopefully a provisional spot to perhaps get into the race.
I think she's in pretty good shape there.
All right, Ralph.
Well, Ashton Lewis is sitting 6th on the grid right now, and you came out here and tested. You're still looking for big money to really get this program running. How important is your performance here to moving this program forward?
I think it's pretty big. We had a lot of momentum going into New Hampshire last week and really struggled at New Hampshire, and it ended up being kind of a stupid on our part, and kind of we shot ourselves in the foot there, so it kind of killed our momentum. So we're looking at this race to kind of get our momentum back in the right direction. We did come out here and test for 2 days, and we spent a day on qualifying runs, and came back here, started the race and we were a lot tighter than what we tested. So we started adjusting on that, and then unfortunately we didn't get to do a mock run in practice. And this was our best guess at it, and I think we had probably the wrong gear for it. It's a little bit cooler when we came out here and tested, so that kind of bit us a little bit. But all in all, it's a good run. It's not what we were hoping to do, but the big day's tomorrow. I think we got a really good race set up, so we're still looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, Ashton does have some sponsorship from RickBroom.com, a well-known aviation artist, to get him through the weekend. Mark Garrow?
Well, I don't know how good he's going to qualify, but I did find out that Casey Atwood can sleep right here on pit road, cars going by and standing up. He's just leaned over here on the roof sleeping. Are you going to be awake enough to make a great qualifying run?
Yeah, I'm good. Car was pretty good in practice. Thought we had a pretty good shot at the top 10 and maybe a little better, but the track was really fast there at the start of qualifying from the rain, and the track was really cool. So it's getting hotter now, so hopefully we can just get a good qualifying run for the Navy car, and I know we're going to be pretty good on Saturday.
Your teammate Tim Fedewood just qualified 6th. Are you as good as he is, or can you better that?
He was a little better than me in practice. So we talked about it, made some changes. Well, we didn't make any changes. He made some changes to his car. I'm sure we'll talk to him, see what his car did, see if we can make any last-minute air pressure adjustments or anything. Hopefully we can be right there with him.
Alan?
All right, Tim Fedewood, as you said, good solid qualifying run, 6th place, coming off his 2nd place run in New Hampshire last race. And now here's Jimmy Kitchens, Hueytown, Alabama.
You know, Alan, I think the racetrack is starting to go the other way a little bit, but on the other hand, Tim Peterwood did run 3/10 quicker than what he did in practice.
I'm still waiting for the 8 car, Mark Truex Jr., and then the 27 of Johnny Sauter. Those two guys really fast in practice. We're going to see some speed yet from this thing.
I will not dispute that.
We're going to see some speed out of this racetrack before we're done. And it's going to give Kyle Busch a run for that #1 spot he holds so far. Speaking of #1 spots, congratulations to Casey Mears, the Bud Pole winner for the Nextel Cup race at Pocono earlier today.
You might think shocker, but this team has gotten better and better and better with Jimmy Elledge all year long, and then congratulations to Ganassi and his whole program.
Great job. I see Jimmy Kitchens there with his second lap being the better of the two, and a little handful to gather it up in turn 1 on his cool down lap, but Jimmy at 27.262, 14th out of 21, and he will be in good shape to be in the race on Saturday. Don't forget, tomorrow at 1 Eastern Time, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing from Michigan on speed. Dennis Setzer and that great fight for the championship. Ted Musgrave, Bobby Hamilton, all the stars of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series with some high-speed action. 1 o'clock Eastern, Saturday, here on Speed.
America's #1 tailgate party.
There you go. Here's Jason Keller. Talked with us just earlier, said they were kind of struggling a little bit with the handle on this machine.
You know, that's what Kyle Busch said too.
You're not buying it, huh?
I'm not buying it.
Jason was 14th in practice earlier today. And he's got kind of a trend going at this racetrack that he's hoping to continue in the race on Saturday. The last 3 years, he's finished 4th, 3rd, and 2nd.
The racetrack looks, it's not similar, but it's kind of like Nazareth. And he is dominant at Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
That's very well. Lap 1 for Keller is going to be good for 6th place out of 22. See if he can come up with anything better here as he finishes lap 2. Jason Keller, 2002 pole winner at this racetrack, does pick up some time on his 2nd lap.
See, we weren't buying that.
He bumps it up to 3rd fastest at 26.424. Well, you know, you can never believe what a driver says.
No, you can never believe a driver.
It's a nice job by Keller and his team. Wes Ward and the crew, some adjustments there, and get the thing all squared away and get him up for a top 5, hopefully qualifying run. Although we've got 22 cars completed out of 47 that'll go. Here's Tony Raines now, making what will be one of his infrequent starts this season. They haven't run all the races for Base Motorsports, but this will be his 12th start of the year so far. Best qualifying effort so far this season, 12th at Dover. That was kind of a square entrance into turn 1.
A lot of talent right here. Raced against him in the Truck Series. Came out of the Midwest. A lot of great talent. Did well last year in the Winston Cup.
Interesting to see what this lap looks like, because he kind of cooked it in there pretty hot off into turn 1. But he gets a regroup lap. White flag for Tony Raines. See what will be 15th out of 23 on the first lap, and a much better run through the center of the corner there. Tony did not race here last year. Last drove here in 2002. Best finish at this racetrack was a 19th that occurred a few years ago in 2001.
27.18 in practice in 02. So I tell you what, it was an ugly lap to pick up 2/10.
Yeah. So 15th out of 23 for Tony Raines. We'll look for him to come from in traffic when the green flag waves on Saturday. Plenty more Busch Pole qualifying to come from Pikes Peak here on Speed. Hope you'll stay with us. We're coming right back. It's NASCAR Busch Pole qualifying on Speed from Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado. All the best with Barry Dodson, Ralph Shaheen, Mark Garrow, and this is Brad Teague on the track. First of his 2 laps, 17th out of 25. He's on lap number 2. While we were away, Roland Isaacs looking to make his Busch Series debut.
You know, Brad Teague picked up a full 2nd from practice.
Roland Isaacs with the 14th fastest lap out of 25. A good job by him. And for Brad Teague, a little bit slower on lap number 2, so 17th out of 25 for Brad. Martin Truex still to run. Is he going to be the guy to bump Kyle Busch off the pole?
He could be, Alan. He's already won 5 pole positions so far in 2004. Okay, you ran 26.673 in practice. You need to run a 26.203 to beat Kyle Busch. Can you do it?
Well, I don't know. We had that rain, and it was real cloudy when them guys went early. So the sun's out now. We'll just have to see what we can do. Wrangler Chevrolet's been real good since we unloaded, and we'll just do the best we can. And if all works well, then hopefully we'll get us another pole.
Alan, this is another guy who dragged all the way out here to test for this race.
Yes, he did. They spent a one-day test here after the Chicagoland race a couple of weeks ago. Remember, they had the off weekend following, so they came out here, did the test, and went on back.
Brought teammate Paul Menard with them, and they've also been to RP, so they're working hard.
Yep. And here's Derek Cope. Speaking of working hard, he is on the clock. That was the white flag for Derek. First of his 2 laps complete in 21st fastest fashion. 27.465 for the 1990 Daytona 500 winner. Jay Robinson Racing Team. Cope's best start this season so far, 25th at Bristol back in the early spring.
36 in practice, so pretty good pickup.
And on lap number 2, did he gain any time? A little bit. 27.444 for Derek, still 21st. Out of 26th fastest. This summer, treat yourself to the most fun you've ever had watching NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing. It's Fantasy Cup Auto Racing, returning with more than $350,000 in cash and prizes. To enter the official fantasy game of Speed Channel, log on to speedtv.com. $350,000, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
We'll see if Casey Atwood can find a lot of speed here with the Navy car.
Right down the street from the Air Force, right?
The Air Force Academy here in Colorado Springs. That would be correct. The Falcons appointing a new athletic director yesterday, I saw in the newspaper. For Casey, he was 12th fastest in practice earlier today. Best qualifying of the season so far for him. 3rd place at Milwaukee.
Both these teams are getting better. He and Fiedler.
Yeah, they've had their struggles this year, the Fitz-Bradshaw team, but it seems like they're gaining a little bit of momentum and kind of getting organized and beginning to move it forward.
And that's what we were talking about. It takes time. You've got new personnel, new cars, new drivers.
There's Terry Bradshaw and Armando Fitz, the owners that make up the Fitz-Bradshaw combination.
Yeah, you don't want to bump that car. Those guys are big.
Yeah. Lap 1 for Casey was 7th fastest. Lap number 2 was just a shade slower, so good run for Atwood. 26.511, 7th out of 27 for the Nashville, Tennessee native. 27 of 47 cars have made their Busch Pole qualifying runs here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. I see NBS 24/7 is on hand. Delayed by rain for over an hour, but you are seeing NASCAR Busch Series Busch Pole qualifying on speed. Stacy Compton is out now, the 29th driver to make his run. Stanton Barrett a minute ago ran all the way in the break. 12th fastest out of 28 for stuntman Stan. Pretty good effort.
Pretty good effort for him.
And Stacy looking to better his best qualifying effort this season, which is the 7th that he did at Nashville. He was 15th fastest in practice, and he is 9th right now out of 29.
That's an improvement. They have struggled as of late.
It's been a real struggle of a season for this whole ST Motorsports team. Stacy Compton in the 59 car here. Robert Presley, his new teammate. And I talked with the team owner, Tad Geschichter, a couple of weeks ago about their season, and he said, you know, we changed brands from General Motors to Ford. We added a second car. Maybe we bit off a little lunch to try and chew and digest, but the opportunities were all too good to pass up.
Exactly, and that's what we were touching on when we were talking about Fitz-Bradshaw. Anytime you enter any new element, it just takes time when you're in competition against such great competition.
9th fastest for Stacy Compton out of 29. Good job there. And let's hear from another driver who wrestled a good time out of his car, Ralph.
That's Jason Keller, who right now is sitting inside of row number 2 in the 3rd position. Jason, you like slippery racetracks. Why is that? Because this is definitely one of those come race day.
Well, you've got to have a good handling race car for one, but it seems to fit my style of drive, and I grew up on the flat, slick racetracks around the Carolinas, so kind of where I feel home, so comfortable. But man, we picked up a lot of speed from where we practiced. We still got some bullets to go. I'm not so sure that's going to stack up 3rd when it's all said and done, but got Air Plus insoles on the car today, so pretty excited about that. Hopefully we can start somewhere close to the front.
He should feel pretty confident going into tomorrow, Mark.
Ralph, Just about the last car to come out of the inspection area today was Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s Team Marine Ford. Bobby, you won the pole here a year ago. You were 11th fast in practice. Can you back up that #1 spot?
I don't know. I think we were pretty good. The rain washed a lot of the rubber down, so that's going to be different. But we was the last car into tech to making all the changes we need. So if anybody can put a setup under it, then I think we can if we real knowledge. So we'll do all we can.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. still to come. Robert Presley finishing 17th fastest out of 30.
And talking about setups, Alan, he had in what looked like a dirt track setup.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we counted 16 drivers that have never been here. Would you ever think that Robert Presley was one of those guys? But this is his first trip to Pikes Peak.
Yeah, hasn't run the Busch Series. He's running Van Winston Cup and also the Craftsman Truck Series for most of the last 8-9 years.
Okay, here comes your shoe.
Drum roll, please.
Alan's been giving me grief up here.
Martin Truex Jr. Well, Barry just pointed to somebody on his sheet during a commercial break and said, "This is who's going to win the pole." And I said, "You forget about the 8?" And he said, "Oh my gosh, I did."
I certainly did. Now, that looks like a new paint scheme.
Yeah.
It is not. This is what modern graphics can do. That whole car is a wrap. It's a vinyl wrap. And you know what that does? It saves you 30 minutes.
Martin Truex Jr. looking for his 6th pole position of the season. 26.204 is the time to beat. Does he do it? Survey says yes.
Good dog, you.
26.186 for Truex Jr. New leader.
Now, why would he take? Go ahead and start on one lap scuffs. You see these drivers just will not. There you go. He finally listened to the crew chief.
Got the word. Well, I'm sure if you're the crew chief, you want to make sure what you think you just heard in that roar from the crowd.
And it's fun to see Wrangler jeans.
Yeah, yeah. Sponsor of Dale Earnhardt's for so many years there.
Many years.
So Martin Truex Jr., the 24-year-old, in position for his 6th Busch pole of the season, looking for his 5th win of the season on Saturday. And said he had a great time last Sunday filling in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Nextel Cup car, even though it didn't work out as well as he would have hoped.
And he did a good job. That was a lot of pressure. I'm sure it was self-induced, but he did a tremendous job. Those are big shoes to fill.
Here with 15 cars to go is Mike McLaughlin, filling in for Greg Biffle, who is expected to arrive tomorrow to race this 60 car from Pocono, where Biffle was today. He's supposed to run the practice session tomorrow morning, then jump on a jet and slide on out here to Colorado Springs and run this 60 car in the NASCAR Busch Series race before sliding back to Pocono to run the Cup race on Sunday.
And you know what? If he doesn't make it, this kid here is going to do a great job.
Yeah, of course, Mike, a longtime veteran of 302 career starts in the NASCAR Busch Series. First lap, 22nd fastest out of 32. Looked like he had a lot of trouble over the bumps on lap 1. And let's see if lap 2 is any better.
Air pressure's coming up, heat getting in tires, more grip. He should get through there much better.
He was only 21st fastest in practice. And the second lap is up to 17th.
A little better.
Out of 32 for McLaughlin and the Roush Racing team. 26.897 for Mikey. Well, new man on the pole is with Ralph.
Wow, even in the heat, you were able to uncork that kind of run. Are you surprised that you were able to steal that away this late in the session?
Yeah, I'm real surprised. My car didn't drive as good as I thought it was going to. I probably overdrove it a little bit, but you know, whatever it takes to get on the pole, we're here to do it. And just real proud of these guys. We've had a few tough weeks where we've had good cars and having good finishes, and we're here to hopefully turn that around this weekend. Wrangler Chevrolet's been great all day, and hopefully we can top off the weekend with a win tomorrow.
By the way, that's a new track record too.
As each week goes on, you can see the confidence in that young man growing.
He is the real deal, and it's nice to see a sponsor on this car.
Mike Wallace with the sport clips on the side of his machine for the weekend here at Colorado Springs. They've been an associate sponsor on the car. And Mike on his first lap is 11th fastest. It's been quite the month of July for this team.
It has been. He was 20th in practice, and you know what? Almost 2 wins in a row.
Got the win down at Daytona on Independence weekend, and then the almost win. Ran out of fuel leading at the white flag at Chicagoland. Had a decent run last weekend in New Hampshire, too. Mike said he was kind of sorry to see July come to a close, but he was hoping to carry that same kind of momentum on through August. Remember, Indianapolis Raceway Park, site of next weekend's race. Mike Wallace has won there in the past. A little bit faster on lap 2 puts Mike into the 11th position out of 33 so far, 26.682. Mark?
Well, just chilling out beside his AC Delco Chevrolet, Ron Hornaday Jr. Ron, you were third here a year ago in qualifying. Are you that good again?
Butch and myself were hoping it ranged for qualifying, but no, we found some things on it. Butch and the guys done a great job with AC Delco car. To run what they run, I don't know if we can do that, but we're going to try. All Butch said is told me to bring the car back, so I don't know what we can do. They're actually good laps down. I mean, that's almost a second faster than what we qualified last year here, so the rain helped, it cooled off, and the sun's going back away again, so we'll see if we can pick up.
Hornaday still to come. Jason Leffler was 6th fastest in practice, and he went through turns 1 and 2 right on the right line on this first time lap.
Booty did a great job with this car. That was really good. The car did not move around. Let's see what he can lay down.
Wow, it's only 11th fastest.
It might have an engine problem going on.
Yeah, you heard that too, huh? They're popping and spluttering on the liftoff there when he backed off the gas.
Carburetor something.
Get some water in some place it doesn't belong, or some electrical.
It's getting worse, Alan. So you know what? He would be happy to take that because he probably will be going to the back. It sounds like.
I'll have to change an engine there, yeah. Second lap a little bit faster, 26.581 for Jason Leffler, 11th out of 34 so far. For Bobby Hamilton Jr., his season has been one of frustration. This was Nazareth leading until the very final quarters of the race when Martin Truex Jr. snuck by in traffic and stole the checkered flag away. Gosh darn.
I don't think that's what she said.
Yeah. Dominated the race at Kentucky Motor Speedway on June 19th, only to have engine failure in the final laps. Then the race at Chicagoland, was on the pole, had a car nobody thought they could beat in final practice, and he lasted 1 lap before engine failure struck him down again.
Started last week at Loudon in the back, another engine change. The car did finish. They started the race with plug wires also. It's been a uphill climb for this race team, but they're very, very strong, and I think they'll get a win before Bobby leaves and goes on the Cup.
Got him a 5th place qualifying record on his first lap for Team Marines, 26.431. Hamilton Jr. was 11th fastest in practice. No surprise he's better than that. And just reiterating what Barry said, this driver and crew chief, Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Harold Holley, going together to the Tide Ride for next season in Nextel Cup racing, and faster yet on lap 2, up to 4th quickest, 26.330 for Bobby Hamilton Jr. So 35 cars have run. That leaves us 12 to go in Bush Pole qualifying from Pikes Peak International Raceway. It is NASCAR Busch Series Bush Pole qualifying from Colorado here on Speed. You're looking at Kenny Hendrick on the track. Kenny looking for his 5th start of this season. And let's see how he fares on his first lap. Practice earlier today, Kenny was 27th quickest, and he is
27th. Look for this kid to pick it up. He normally fills out what he has. Pretty good little race car driver. Very good with shock absorbers. He knows a lot about a race car.
Kenny got a background very varied. Road racing, USAC open wheel cars. I remember seeing him run some of those production car challenge divisions back a few years ago as well. Second lap for Kenny is going to be almost identical to the first. 27.039, 27 out of 37 so far for Kenny Hendrick. And by the way, during the break, Clint Vaschholz, the 7-time Pikes Peak Hill Climb champion, had a solid qualifying run, 17th fastest out of 37 so far. Mark, your turn.
Well, Mike Bliss was 4th fast, Alan, in the practice session before qualifying, but can you run 26.186?
I didn't know that's how fast he ran. That's kind of scary, thinking we only ran an 80 in practice. But, you know, the Rockwell Automation Chevrolet has been pretty good. Our qualifying was better than our race trim, but I think we're going to try it. We're going to try to do as good as we can and see if we can put it on the pole. But that's a pretty good time, but everybody's been picking up, so hopefully this weather has made the difference.
Alan, he's won a couple of Craftsman Truck Series poles here at Pikes Peak, but never a Busch Series pole position. So we'll see what happens here in just a moment.
Now, while I was talking about Martin Truex Jr., that was the guy, Mike Bliss, that you said to keep an eye on for possibly winning the pole.
Well, I tell you what, now he is always good for 2.5, 3/10 on any given day. Now we got pretty good conditions here, and I kind of take back Alan because I did forget about the 8 car, but now hammer time, he'll put it down. That's why they call him the Hammer.
He'll be up there somewhere.
He will. No worse than third. No
Mike
worse than
Harmon,
third.
busy hands in that 08 car.
It's fighting bees. Got the hood caving in.
34th fastest on his first lap and a little bit slower on the second. So Mike in 34th out of 38 so far for the Birmingport, Alabama driver. Jason Leffler just finished his qualifying run. Ralph?
Yeah, you know, Alan, he's 12th on the sheet right now. But Jason, as you came by, everybody was hearing the engine sounding a little off. What's the crew saying?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the motor ran great. It turned the RPM it should have, and took throttle really well. And we might have a cracked tailpipe or something. It made a lot of noise, but sometimes they do. But we don't have a speed in the car like we thought. The lap was relatively smooth and fast, and but its speed wasn't there. And I don't know if I just stopped the car too much. I'm pretty disappointed with that. I thought we had a shot at the pole, and you know, it's uncharacteristic for us. But you know, maybe I just overdrove the corner too much and got in and stopped it. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Haas Automation Chevrolet is really good in race trim.
Well, Alan, they will definitely check that engine over and make sure of what the problem is before they even think about changing that engine.
Jason will be looking for his second win of the season tomorrow here at Pikes Peak. This is Rick Sanders, 37-year-old from Lee Lake, Kansas, looking to make his third NASCAR Busch Series career start and his first of 2004, and he needs some help.
Yeah, he's 43rd in practice.
39th out of 39 so far for Sanders.
Car's got a lot of roll to it. You can't have that. You'll see the skirt come up on the left front. You got to keep it down, hold the attitude. That car's just not quite doing it.
Sanders not in position to take advantage of a provisional, so if he doesn't make the top 38 on time, he will be watching this race tomorrow, and indeed he is only 39th fastest out of 39, so put Sanders on the DNQ list.
It's tough.
So 39 down and 9 to go, and let's check in with Mark.
Well, right now you can see the to-do list sort of David Green. Those are the numbers of cars that he's had run-ins with this year so far. David wants to be able to keep track of those during the race. Now, your best qualifying effort here at Pikes Peak is 8th. Where do you think you're going to land today?
First of all, they ran into me. I didn't run into them. So.
Okay. I think that's what I said, but just you want to clarify it. Okay.
That's right. We're okay here. The track's got cooler. We had that rain, and thanks for a lucky late draw, you might say. I think we maybe might have a shot at the top 2 or 3. So Timberwolf guys are working hard, and business as usual in Pikes Peak. But gotta say congrats to Lance Armstrong and that whole United States Postal Service team on their victory, and I'm proud that our Chevrolet team out here this week is working hard, and we got to get back on track. We got a monkey on our back. We're going to throw it off today.
And David and company have had their struggles over the last month or so.
How about Race Girl?
Gus Watson is out there. Now that's not what you're calling Gus. That's the sponsorship on the car. Just wanted to clarify that. 29th fastest on his first lap for the Bloomdale, Ohio driver. Gus, one of those young guys who's been trying to crack this top level of NASCAR racing for about the last 4 years, and just can't seem to get the crack wide enough to slide the foot inside the door.
How's the song go? Hanging in, hanging out, and hanging on.
Hanging on, yeah. So that's 29th out of 40. Now, race drivers keep markers better than anyone I know. Except maybe members of the Red Sox and Yankees, but those are the numbers that Mark was talking about, the to-do list.
Let's see, the 66 isn't on there. We're in good shape.
Ron Hornaday is out now. Driver 3rd in the NASCAR Busch Series championship standings. He's had quite a little run here going over the last month and a half. Knocking off top 10 and top 5 finishes.
He's won some Craftsman Truck Series races here. We haven't had it yet in the Busch Series, but the green-white checker that we could have for one time, he has been the benefactor of that 7 times in his career.
Yeah. See what Ron was able to do here He was 17th fastest in practice earlier today. How about 9th right now? 26.501, right behind his teammate Clint Boyer.
I would say those cars are close.
I was watching Ron and his team work in practice earlier today. They were kind of frustrated, felt like they maybe were chasing their tails a little bit, but they've obviously made some progress in the tune-ups they've done on this car for the qualifying session.
Hornblower can pick it up too. He's like the hammer. He's going to get you 2 or 3 tenths.
Second lap just a little bit slower, so 9th quickest out of 41 for Ron Hornaday, 26.501. And Hornaday will go looking for his first win of this season from somewhere toward the top part of the grid on Saturday afternoon here at Pikes Peak. Tuesday nights on Speed. Check out the Novi Tuner Vision. Part drag racing, part car show, throw in a swimsuit competition, plenty of burnouts, and lots of showing off. And you've got not just a day at the races, but a tuner lifestyle event. It's Novi Tuner Vision, Tuesday night, 7:30 Eastern on Speed. Here he is, the Hammer.
Milwaukee, Oregon's finest, the Hammer, Mike Bliss.
Mike Bliss. So far this season, 2 Busch poles to his credit. Las Vegas and the second Daytona race. Bliss in practice was 4th fastest. He's got to beat a 21.186 that Martin Truex laid down a little while ago. And there's the white flag. Was it good enough? No.
Track's heated up. It's really hot right now.
Is that what it was?
Alan and I had a bet. Okay, we can't tell you what it's for, but I lost.
That ice cream cone's going to taste good. 26.542 for Mike Bliss. Sliding it out to the checkered flag off turn 4 on his second lap, able to pick up any time.
He won't like that, but that's a good starting spot.
Yeah. 11th fastest, second lap a little bit slower. So Mike Bliss for Joe Gibbs Racing is in 11th out of 42. But Martin Truex Jr. is not clear yet.
Good job last weekend, man.
Signing some autographs while he waits out to see. We've still got Johnny Sauter, who was 2nd fastest in practice among the 5 cars left to run.
And another qualifying machine coming up.
David Green. Yeah, he'll be next after Steve Grissom. Grissom's best start this season, 25th at Talladega, making his 5th start of the season in this car. What will be his 260th career NASCAR Busch Series start for the Photo Series champion. Last time he raced here was in 1999. And in practice order today, Steve was 28th. Lap number 1. It's good for 32nd spot, 27.182 for the Alabama native.
He'll be safe. A lot of experience here. He's one of the best drivers I've ever seen at Bristol.
Yeah. Remember the year he won both races in a season there in the NASCAR Busch Series, and one of them he won from way out back.
Exactly.
Starting spot. Back before they did what they do now with the pit roads, he was on the backstretch pit road. That was supposed to be a big disadvantage, and he overcame that and the traffic. I think he was driving for Gary Bechtel then, right? Diamond Ridge Racing.
Diamond Ridge.
Second lap for Grissom, a little bit better, moves him up to 30th starting spot for now, with 43 of 47 drivers having made their runs. And then there were 4. He's got the list on the dashboard. That's for race day. Right now, David Green only has 1 number in mind, and that's 8. Trying to bump number 8 off the pole.
So looking at that list, Alan, would you call him a Kentucky headhunter right now?
Yeah, very nice. Little music reference there.
Great qualifier.
He is.
With a great race team also, I might add.
David 5th in the championship standings. 398 points out of the lead. He's gotten a pole earlier this season at the Monster Mile in Dover. Looking for his 23rd career NASCAR Busch Series pole position.
And that's a pretty good car. Jamie McMurray won Atlanta in this car in the Busch Series.
10th fastest in practice, 7th fastest on his first lap. 26.458 for David Green. Now that's a good lap. And that's almost 0.3 of a second off what Martin Truex ran.
Yeah, you're happy with that, and you just got spanked.
Yeah. David not been a victory lane so far this season. Got a couple 3rd place efforts. And again, like you were talking before, his team's really had their struggles over the last month or so they need to have a good, solid top 5 finish here. A win would be a bonus, I would think, at this point for this race team. Lap number 2, fractions of a second quicker, so 6th fastest out of 44 for former series champion David Green. 3 cars to go. Kim Crosby will be out next, followed by Johnny Sauter and then Mark Green to cap it all off. Martin Truex looking for another pole this season. He's a pretty remarkable kid to jump into the NASCAR Busch Series first year full time, and to have the poles and the wins that he has amassed already this season, be leading the championship by 94 points with 14 races to go. It's a great accomplishment, not just for he, but for Chance 2 Racing, their first full season.
And I respect this kid a lot. When you talk to him, he's very, very modest. He appreciates what he has. He doesn't act like a kid that's accomplished what he has already this year, knowing what kind of future he's got ahead of him. But he's got a great one, I guarantee you.
He said the biggest thing he got out of last weekend in New Hampshire when he ran for Dale Earnhardt Jr. was just the understanding that he could run with the best in the business.
Exactly.
He could get out there, he could race with him, he had the goods to do it. I said, well, you had to know that before. He said, no, you always, everybody else might believe it, but you'll always doubt it yourself until you do it. This is Kim Crosby looking quite off the pace on the first lap. 39-year-old is trying to make a 3rd start this season and a 1st here at Pikes Peak.
What is butt paste?
I believe it's for diaper rash.
Okay. We should have some of that.
But seeing as my children are 17 and 21, I don't know that.
My granddaughter's 2.5, so if we don't have butt paste, we'll have it Monday.
There you go. 30.955, the first lap for Crosby. And not looking good for chances to be in the race on Saturday. Second lap is going to be faster, but still 45th out of 45 for Kim Crosby at 30.219, and doesn't look like he's eligible for provisional either.
No.
So, not too good. All right, here he comes. Second fastest in practice, Johnny Sauter. Now he ran, the time that he ran in practice earlier today was a 26.699. Remember, a 26.67 was the quickest time anybody ran. Truex ran a 26.18 earlier, and Johnny with a little handful of steering wheel there.
Here's a car that tested here, Alan. I talked to his crew chief, Newt Moore. He said it's the same tire as we've mentioned. We've got the Loudon setup in it, so we'll see how good it is.
Cooked it down in there pretty good. Up about a lane off the bottom of the racetrack. Johnny looking for his first pole of the season so far. He's qualified 2nd at Dover and Milwaukee. And let's see where he goes out. Wow, 16th. 26.664, very comparable to what he ran in practice earlier today, but he's not picked up like everyone else has.
No, we talked about the track going the other way, but yet David Green just qualified 6th, so he's not going to be happy with that. You spend all that money, you come out here, you spend 2 days testing, and you end up possibly 16th. We'll see what he does here on the second lap.
Ah, how about that? Second lap.
Well, it just paid for itself.
26.251, 4th quickest for Johnny Sauter. Not able to challenge Truex for the pole, but able to get himself up into the top 5 as he looks for a NASCAR Busch Series win here in Colorado on Saturday. And so we're down to the final car. And it's going to be Mark Green, one of the 3 racing Green brothers out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Mark looking for his 5th start here at Pikes Peak and his 10th start so far this season. Qualified 12th in Milwaukee for his best run of the year. He's split time driving between a couple of different cars so far this season.
Had a little wiggle there. Actually a big one.
Practice today, Mark was 18th fastest. So let's see what kind of a number he is able to post up here. Not expecting him to challenge Martin Truex for the pole, but let's see if he can crack perhaps the backside of the top 10. 30th fastest for Mark on his first lap at 27.020.
He got through there a little better that time, Alan.
And a final quarter in today's Busch Pole qualifying session. And we'll have our lineup for Saturday's 250-mile race. Second lap for Mark Green moves him up to 28th spot into the 26-second bracket. 26.937. And it bumped Derek Cope out of the top 38 and back into provisional land. So there it is. 47 cars have run, and the fastest of them today in new track record fashion, Martin Truex Jr. His 6th career NASCAR Busch Series pole position. We'll talk to him when we come back. Despite an hour rain delay, NASCAR Busch Series Busch Pole qualifying completed here at Pikes Peak International Raceway outside of Colorado Springs, and Ralph Shaheen is with the man who was fastest.
Alan, 13 drivers broke the track record here today, but the guy that broke it the biggest was Martin Truex, who your 6th pole of the year, and you love winning poles. What is it about poles that really gets you all jazzed up?
I don't know. It's just something about being the fastest guy here on the weekend. It's just an honor, and you know, you get to brag a little bit and say you're the fastest guy here, so it's cool.
Earlier today, you were telling me that you really are looking forward to this race and the next one at IRP. Why? Why these two?
Well, I don't know. We tested here for a day, and we tested IRP for a day, and just got our cars going really good, and they were really fast. And we haven't tested since early in the season. It seemed like when we used to do that, we'd run really good. So really excited, you know, when you can unload off the trailer like we did today with our Wrangler Chevrolet and be top of the sheet. You know, it gives you a lot of confidence, and my guys are just doing such an awesome job. So I'm real excited that we tested and that we can unload good and not struggle like we have some of the races not too long ago.
All right, fastest is one thing, but the best over 250 miles is a whole nother story. How do you do that tomorrow? Do you got the right setup for that?
Well, I think we do. We were really good this morning, and obviously the track's going to be a lot different tonight in happy hour. So we're going to have to just get our car to drive good tonight and hopefully make the right adjustments for tomorrow. And you know, I'm sure our great pit stops, the guys on pit road will do a good job, and Bono does a great job adjusting my car throughout the race. So, you know, we've got 250 laps to get it right, and hopefully it'll be right for the end.
All right, well, Martin, congratulations on winning your 6th Busch Pole Award of the year. Mark?
Well, when it comes to qualifying, Kyle Busch has seen this movie already this year. You started beside Martin, same thing, outside front row at Kentucky. What do you think? You had a 5th place run there. That was the last top 5 you've had so far this season.
Oh, that was actually a win. So, you know, hopefully we were able to do it tomorrow. You know, we had a little bit of difficulty there a little bit earlier this afternoon. We just couldn't quite get the handle we wanted to, but, you know, since the track got rained on, it definitely came to us. And, you know, I guess we got beat a little bit here in the first part of the weekend, but hopefully we're able to beat them at the end of it.
Now, right now, you're 94 points behind in the battle for the championship. You two have sort of separated yourself from the pack. Are you racing 2 deals right now, one to win the race, also to beat him?
Yeah, you kind of are and you aren't. I mean, you're going out there to race every lap the way you need to and try to obviously get a win. But, you know, we also look and see where the 8 car is every once in a while just to see, you know, if we need to try a little bit harder and practice, obviously. We don't really worry about them too much in the race. We're just worried more about our low Chevrolet and trying to get it to the front.
Now, right now, a little bit of a slump for this team. Are you happy that you haven't fallen more than that 94 points behind?
Yeah, we've been lucky. We've actually had a little bit of downfall as far as our luck's been, but, you know, the 8 car has too. So we haven't been able to finish exactly where we want to, but everywhere, if you look at how we've been running, you know, it doesn't make much of how you run, but everywhere we have run well. So that's what counts.
This is your first trip to Pikes Peak. Does this place remind you of any other racetrack you've been to before?
It doesn't, it doesn't. Everybody says it's kind of like Richmond. I see it kind of like a Richmond and a Michigan. I mean, it's kind of all around the board, you know, so it's one of its own animals, and every track is that, so you just got to kind of tame the animal and find out what it likes.
He'll start second, and of course, he'll try to, of course, wind up in victory lane once again. Want to also a quick reminder of what happened to Jason Leffler. They found a loose header pipe, and that's the reason for his problems during his qualifying run. Back to Alan and Barrett.
All right, that's good news. So they won't have to change the engine there and drop to the back of the grid from where they qualified in the 00 car, which was 16th.
Tighten her up and go again. There
you go. When we come back to Pikes Peak International Raceway, we'll give you the starting lineup, final results from today's Bush Pole qualifying session. Back at Pikes Peak International Raceway, where Martin Truex Jr. has won the pole for tomorrow's 250-mile NASCAR Busch Series race. Let's get some more thoughts from downstairs.
Well, Johnny Sauter was second fastest after the end of the first practice today, and then you qualified fourth, still quicker, but we were thinking maybe a little bit more in there. Are you surprised that you couldn't get the pole today?
I don't know. I mean, I think the guys that went a little bit earlier after the rain, the racetrack was obviously cooler and more cloud cover, but nonetheless, I'm just going to take it. I mean, the last couple of weeks we started dead last because of engine failures, and for us to be able to put our Kleenex Safeway Monte Carlo towards the top 5, I guess is a blessing for me, and we'll just take it and go on.
You've been as revved up today as I've seen you in a long time. How geared up are you for tomorrow?
I'm fired up. I mean, it's time. I mean, we need to win a race really bad, and we've been in position to win a couple races earlier this year and just wasn't able to capitalize on it, and for whatever reason, if it's, you know, something I did stupid or whatever, but nonetheless, I mean, we're starting up front, feel pretty good about it. This racetrack's always been pretty good to me. Had a good run here last year, and you know, it's just time. It's time for me to go to victory lane.
Johnny finished 4th here a year ago, and he will start from 4th position tomorrow as we take a look at the starting lineup. Truex Jr. with his 6th pole of the season. The top 2 in the championship, side by side in row number 1.
Ron Hornaday, Casey Atwood, another good run for Casey, Bliss, Beatable.
And you see Robert Presley going to come from a little bit deeper into the field. Derek Cope in on a provisional. And the final starters in on provisionals, Tina Gordon, Kim Crosby gets a spot, and Stan Boyd. So tomorrow, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from Michigan at 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on Speed. TNT.